Hey, what's up, everybody? This is Joe Tossi from TechTables.com, and you're listening to the Public Sector Show by TechTables. This podcast features human-centric stories from public sector CIOs, CISOs, and technology leaders across federal, state, city, county, and higher education. You'll gain valuable insights into current issues and challenges faced by top leaders. Through interviews, speaking engagements, live podcast tour events, we offer you a behind-the-mic look at the opportunities top leaders are seeing today. And to make sure you never miss an episode, head over to Spotify and Apple Podcasts and hit that follow button and leave a quick rating. Just tap the number of stars that you think this show deserves. Welcome to the Public Sector Show by TechTables. Super excited to have everyone on. We're going to kick off with Mary Lou, short intro, and just a little bit about yourself.
Sure. Mary Lou Prevost. I manage our state local education vertical over at Splunk. Been in the government sector and education sector, 20 plus years. I probably shouldn't say that, but fun space that we get to do a lot of cool stuff. So.
Super fun. Great.
Hi, I'm Craig Woolley. I'm the Chief Information Officer at LSU. I've been there for about 4 years. I've been in higher ed IT all my career. This is my third school I've worked at.
Love it. Kim?
Hi, Kim Milford, the Chief Information Security Officer at University of Illinois, Urbana-Champaign. I've been there for about a year and a half, and I've also been around to some other campuses.
Love it. Ed?
Ed Wozencroft. I'm the VP for Digital Strategy and CIO at NJIT, New Jersey Institute of Technology. Similar, I've been there about 3 years, so I think we're all on the newer side. But lifelong in higher ed, whether it's on other campuses as a consultant for higher ed change agents and executive leaders, and excited to be here.
Love it. I'm really excited about this podcast. So before I was gifted, I don't know if we can see this in the camera, I got this Splunk shirt. Can we see this? That's so dispatch.fetch. And we've got the Splunk. So I was gifted to this, but Mary Lou, I didn't tell you I was going to do this before, but just going to wear this for the podcast real quick.
My favorite one is taking the SH out of IT.
That's a great one. Craig, you've implemented a unique student-powered SOC modeled at LSU. Walk us through the genesis of this idea and how it's evolved into a program that not only enhances LSU's security, but also provides a valuable experience and workforce pipeline for students.
Yeah, so there were two things that were going on at LSU a few years ago. One, I was new to the job there. I met with my CISO and asked him what he felt like we needed to do to increase our cybersecurity posture. And his answer was, we need a SIM, which he preferred it be Splunk, and we need it monitored 24/7 and a SOC. The problem had been that those can be very expensive, especially for a higher ed institution, especially public higher ed like we are. But I coupled that with, we got a new president, President Tate, who also wanted LSU to be one of the best cybersecurity education institutions in the country, which I took that to mean we need to give our students real world experience in cybersecurity. So by coupling, putting our students in a SOC, along with us being protected, it covered both, right? It protects us and gives students that experience. It's a twist on a typical student-run SOC. We call it student-powered, and that's because we created a public-private partnership with a company called TechStream to where they're partnering with us to do the MDR services. So it's not relying solely on the students, but they are partnered with TechStream. They are onboarded as if they're TechStream employees, even though the students are employed by LSU, and they are working on the front lines real world. The beauty of this model is I don't need them working 24/7, which is a nightmare in a college setting. So we have them just working Monday through Friday, 8 to 5, and then TechStream is alongside of them during the day, but at night it's 100% TechStream, so we don't have to worry about 24/7 in that model.
That's fantastic. Just quick follow-up question on the model that has expanded to places like over here. And we're going to get to him in a second. But how has this cross-institutional collaboration worked? Kind of what challenges have you faced? And what are some of the key lessons in trying to scale this model out?
Yeah, so from the get-go, when we worked with TechStream, we wanted to create this as a scalable, repeatable process. Much like a fast food franchise, we wanted everything all created and set so that other schools can adopt this. We got buy-in from our state, which funded this project with $7.5 million in recurring money. And so we have been onboarding schools in the state. We are over 20 that have been onboarded in this model. Each school gets their own Splunk ES instance so that there's no issues of students or other people seeing other schools' data. It's all siloed in a Splunk ES, but we use automation and Splunk SOAR to pull all those together and operate in conjunction and do automation that allows us to be very quick and nimble and solve incidents as quickly as possible.
I love that. Mary Lou, from your perspective at Splunk, you've been closely involved with LSU's innovative SOC program. Walk us through how Splunk has supported this initiative and what are some of the unique benefits observed in implementing the student power model?
I think one of the big challenges that students run into when they graduate with a cyber degree, if you don't have hands-on experience with the manufacturers out there, a company has to invest over a year or more to get you productive. And so it's a real challenge. There's over 2.3 million open cyber jobs, right? So we have to address this challenge. My biggest challenge in public sector is talent, right? So love this program so that we can get the right talent out to government, out to education, out to private sector. So it's a win for, I think, all of us as citizens, right? And what's unique for Splunk, we've got to have that staff. All these fine folks have great programs that all need staff, right? So it answers that big challenge. And on top of that, there's so many different types of data use cases even beyond security. So helping people understand the power of data and how that can be used to make decisions in so many different aspects. It's a win. And what we do specifically is we offer up all of our curriculum, our online training at no charge for all the faculty, for the students, to help build these kinds of programs to accelerate that education cycle.
And one thing I wanted to add that's important for the leadership at LSU and also our Commissioner of Higher Ed, this program is open to students of all backgrounds, so you do not have to be in an IT degree or a cyber degree. All we do is we give them a critical thinking test that TechStream developed, and they have to score a certain amount on that test to be considered for the job. But you don't need any IT background, and then we will train you with some of the Splunk training that Mary Lou was talking about. TechStream does some training, and we can get you onto the front lines from the time a student is hired to the time they're on the front lines in the SOC is 6 weeks that we've got it down to.
Ed, you're in the process of implementing the student-powered SOC at NJIT, inspired by LSU's model. What iterations are you making to fit this into NJIT's specific needs, and how do you see this initiative contributing to the workforce development of New Jersey overall?
Yeah, so 3 years ago we realized we didn't have a SOC on campus at all, so we outsourced to the classic move and said, throw it out there, have somebody run this for us 24/7. In year 3, we're starting to reevaluate where we want to go. Q, getting to know Craig, a site visit to LSU to see what the program was like and experience it in real life. One of NJIT's goals in our 2030 strategic plan is to have every single one of our students have some form of experiential education by the time they walk out the door. So Mary Lou is talking about what Craig is talking about, having that hands-on experience, we found it makes the students so much more successful and prepared to enter the workforce. And being the state's public polytechnic institution, we just said it's a no-brainer for us to start to take a program like this and scale it. We already signed with TechStream. We signed about 3 weeks ago. By the end of November, we plan to be up and running on TechStream on the security stack backed by Splunk. And what we're going to do is, realizing that it'll take us a little bit of time to scale students in, I'm actually going to lean on Craig at LSU and his student-powered SOC to protect some of our data and our assets day to day. What that's doing is it's actually writing down our costs, and that's very unique. TechStream is willing to make less from you as you scale your students, but still take on the liability and train all of your students. And what we're doing too, it's very easy to fall into the trap for us to say, hey, we have a big cybersecurity program, let's hire all cybersecurity students. We're actually interested in tapping out to our engineering departments, our liberal arts, our College of Arts and Design, because we're realizing that security has so many different disciplines that are starting to emerge. We need to prepare the workforce. What I'm also doing is partnering with our state CISO at NJKIC, New Jersey Cyber Intelligence Division, to start looking at how we can actually create, beyond a public-private partnership, a multi-pronged partnership that actually looks at how do we train workforce for government jobs? So how does the state CISO, the state SOC, tie into this? How do we look at small, medium, local businesses, municipalities, organizations that typically have the IT guy who's also the mail person who's managing the phone system? It's one person. You can't do cyber justice with just one person. How can we scale this so that we have branches of a student-powered SOC that support private industry, higher education, and this we want to open up, similar to Craig, to any school in the state of New Jersey and then beyond, and federate as we see other systems and other schools tie off, and then also bring it to government. From an economic development and workforce development, the whole goal is the same as Craig's: keep our students in our state. So in a world where far more virtual employment opportunities come up and people might not want to relocate, they can take a job at LSU or with TechStream or with Splunk and stay in the state of New Jersey, which is huge for our economic mission.
That's great. Craig was able to get buy-in at the state level. How are you working at that level and that collaboration communication?
So we're working a bit opposite. What's a little bit unique about New Jersey's public higher education is that we aren't systemized. We do have a commission for higher education, but we're not organized in one shared model. We don't have an overarching board of regents or a board of overseers. Every school is, I forget the legal acronym, the legal terminology for it, but we all operate as sole entities. I'm taking a bit of a backwards approach to say, I'm building this for NJIT, and then I'm working with organizations like New Jersey Edge, who's our higher ed consortium in the state, and we're going out doing roadshows like this to say, you can be a part of it. It's complete voluntary opt-in, but what we're seeing is that the power of coming together is so much stronger. So the goal coming into the fall of this upcoming calendar year is that find at minimum one community college, one private institution, and one four-year senior public in New Jersey. So 3 different schools that are willing to partner into this model. Similar to Craig's, they can have their own student-powered SOC, but it's really about creating that neighborhood watch program at the top level that says, let's share threat intelligence, let's share what's going on, because the power of all of us is so much better than the power of one of us.
Yeah, no, that's fantastic. Kim, at the university, you've expanded to use Splunk beyond just security to broader data analytics. Walk us through some of those use cases that you're using right now.
I would love to. We use it a lot for analyzing email data. Things that go out, like alerts that go out or messages from our strategic communications group. They want to know who read it, who opened it, who clicked on the links, how did that work? So all of that email data was already going into Splunk because we wanted it for security. And so they were able to be creative, and they came to our data analytics people and said, we want this data, we want to know this from email. And so we set up this really great process that they now have that data and they can self-serve, they have dashboards all presented to them in the way they need it to do their jobs and to make decisions. So that's a really powerful one. Our library uses it. We use it for e-texts. We have a dashboard in Canvas for e-texts, so you can see what's been checked out if there are e-texts in your class, your course. So that's a fun use, and then the library uses it for their licensed products too. So I just love the creativity that's been applied.
That's great, I love that. One of the big themes is especially in the higher ed space, is the kind of decentralized nature of the universities. How have you approached cybersecurity and data management at kind of a 30,000-foot level?
Very carefully. Would you all agree with that?
Yes, oh yeah.
We have to do things one at a time. So for instance, we're starting our cybersecurity improvement initiative, and we're doing that department by department. There's no hardcore mandate, you shall all, and then we expect them to do it. So we're going out to each department, we answer the questions about it, we talk about what their needs are to support it, and frankly, we're paying for it. Because to charge a department to protect university resources just makes it not able or not willing to do it. So I'm like, we're just paying for it. And I had funding for it. Thank you, university, for making sure that happened. So that's a great example of how we need to go one by one. And sometimes it's faculty by faculty, very carefully and patiently.
Yeah.
And that's one of the things that we also came out with 14 brand new cybersecurity policies because ours were way outdated. We have partnered with our faculty senate to do like what you were saying, almost faculty by faculty. So they created a faculty senate IT committee, which I'm so thrilled with. We meet with them 90 minutes every week. And my CISO and I sit down there's about 7 or 8 faculty members on this committee, and we go through line by the policies, making sure they understand them, making sure they're telling us here's where our concerns are, and we have a long dialogue. We've been doing this for a year, right? So we've spent over 100 hours together, but our policies are better written because of it, because the faculty give their insight, and they understand where we're coming from, and we also understand where they're coming from. And so I think that has been a really rewarding experience. It's a lot of time, but it is really worth it.
I love that. So Mary Lou, I didn't actually put this in the questions because I wanted to put you on the spot, which is great. This is my favorite. So I wanted to give Mary Lou the opportunity to brag on each one of you. So Mary Lou, you can start with Craig and we'll go down the aisle.
What I think is so unique about all 3 of these individuals is they're collaborators. You just heard it. They're going across and working with, whether it's the state, whether it's with each of the influential parts of the campus, whether it's all the different deans, amazing collaborators that are willing to go and step beyond what is normally the box that we might fit in. And by doing that, they've done amazing things that are just, it's not heard of in other places. I think just the innovation they have brought by their willingness to collaborate. I'm just bragging on all three of you because you all are spearheading amazing initiatives from that standpoint. And I couldn't be more excited to be sitting, and I'm humbled to be sitting with the three of you at the moment, to be honest.
I'm the only one that can do a hair flip.
So this is really great. And so Mary Lou has a very unique perspective. She has a huge portfolio. She's seen customers across state agencies. I cover all of public sector, but she's covering all of public sector too. So I would love to hear, what are the best, from these three that you've been bragging on, what are some of those best lessons learned or themes that you think, because we're going to have state agencies listen, we're going to have K through 12, we're going to have state CIOs listen. What would you say are some of those, the best that these three universities bring that would be a huge benefit to some of the other CIOs around the nation?
Okay, I can go one by one. I think one, when I look at what Craig is doing, he wasn't afraid to think bigger. And he wasn't afraid to say, I need to protect LSU, but by bringing in the students, I can probably get some more folks behind this. And he wasn't afraid to go out to Department of Ed and work with the Board of Regents to expand what they're doing, right? And equally, what we also see, Kim, we see so many people that will take a data and they'll say, no, it's my tool. And what is so unique with what Kim is doing at the University of Illinois is it's our tool. You guys have a sandbox. Go ahead, play with it. She's allowing that innovation to happen real time to solve real problems. And when we don't do this, we can do a lot more when we expand that. And equally, you reached across, you saw public safety was challenged, right? They're sitting there trying to do active shooter drills, and you're like, I can tell you where everybody is. We got all the endpoints, right? So he has all that telemetry to offer up, and now he's part of those drills using IT, right? Or even when it was, I love that story, it was a student that was in trouble, and they had to find that student very quickly. And using Splunk, they were able to find that individual and no harm occurred. And so it's these amazing stories of not being afraid to say, I'll help, right? Or you can, or let's try. And I love that, right?
Yeah, I love that. That's fantastic. That dovetails very well with the story you're about to tell, is exactly what she just said. So give us the details of that story.
Yeah, about 2 years back, for any of us who work on a college campus, one of the most disturbing things right now is that mental health is at an all-time low. And students, we're seeing now for the first time in history that more students are stopping out of college because of mental health, not because of economic issues, not because they're not fit for it or not taking the right path. Over 80% of students that have stopped out of a college or university in the past 2 years are largely reporting that it's because of anxiety, mental health, depression related issues. We have to do something about that. And the best part of my job is I work closely with our dean of students, our campus police, our public safety organization to do everything we can. And one of the realizations we had is, wait, we have this data. So about 2 years ago, we had a student, as Mary Lou was mentioning, who was in crisis. A friend called into our CARES hotline, which is a 24/7 hotline that gets you instant priority. It's similar to 911. However, when you call that, you know that it's likely a mental health, behavioral, some type of life safety incident that it'll spark instantly a ping to our student life and our dean of students, our chief of police, and anyone who needs to be involved. They were having trouble locating the student, where their friend who had reported them had said that they were. Police went, dispatched, not to be found. We're swarming campus. What happens in a public safety incident in this nature is that the police literally have to start from rooftops and go on down of every building on campus until they find this person or can rule out that they're not on campus. When you think about the amount of time and risk there is in that, is we have probably about 60, 70 buildings on campus, 2 very tall parking decks. They have to go to those, swarm, and while we are generally covered, that's a very human-related response. They were having trouble finding this particular student. Our networking team got wind of it, and late at night, I believe it was about 2 a.m., One of our network engineers went into Splunk, found where this student's cell phone was hitting certain access points, pinpointed a general location, saw that they were active, and within seconds we were able to dispatch a public safety officer to go intervene before the student was about to do something more drastic. That was the moment of realizing for me the power of data and analytics, tools like Splunk, and how IT could really think differently and serve a public good.
That's great. Kim, I'm curious, is there an impactful story around data and analytics that you've seen, wow, this has just been a game changer at our school?
Yeah, absolutely. There's so many, but COVID, our use of data and Splunk for analyzing the data quickly and being able to take action on it, getting it again to the decision makers to take that quick action, because there was no playbook on COVID for anyone, right? And so we had to figure that out as we were doing it. There was a lot of great help within the higher ed community, but we're also very different. So that was probably our most gratifying success.
Fantastic. Greg, I'd love to hear if there's a story specifically around data analytics at LSU.
I think the biggest thing for us still is on the SOC. We get to see where we're having attacks come in. So we did that when we did our ribbon cutting last year. We were able to show on our big screen inside the SOC exactly real live, here's where our threats are coming from, their active attacks coming, and even which school they were attacking. And I thought visually that was stunning for the news, and our officials from the state were there for the ribbon cutting. That really was an eye-opening.
And you're humble. Your governor was at the ribbon cutting.
My governor was at the ribbon cutting.
Along with the university president.
Yeah, it was a great event. When I pitched this idea to our commissioner of higher ed, she loved it, and she said, I want the governor to come someday to the ribbon cutting, and I was like, yeah, I'm sure that'll happen. And sure enough, in September, I got a call saying the governor wants to come in October to do a ribbon cutting for Cybersecurity Awareness Month, and it was a wonderful event, and there's videos of that online, and it was really good and shows the collaboration we've got between the state, our university systems, the Louisiana Optical Network, which is our network that connects all of our schools. All that collaboration, and with Splunk and TechStream, all came to light in that day.
I was thinking about this. I interviewed the 23rd governor for the state of Arizona earlier this year on cybersecurity, and I was like blown away just at the level of buy-in that he had. Seems very similar in Louisiana. What were the feelings that you were feeling showing up to this ribbon cutting? What were you feeling like the governor's here?
I was proud as can be that we did something that rose to that level, and I was proud that our governor was very well versed, and he couldn't have been better. He came in early, went into the SOC, talked with our students, asked them where their backgrounds were, all of that. He spent a long time. Then we did the ribbon cutting, and he stayed after and talked to people, so it was a really good event.
Just want to continue with you real quick on the workforce pipeline. When we met, you were super passionate about that, and I want to just give a few more minutes to that. The kids aren't just going through the program, right? Like, they're getting a job. Can you speak to that?
So the design of this all along was around the students and giving them good job opportunities in any school in the state. So any school, much like Ed was talking about, can open up their own SOC and give their students that opportunity. When we approached TechStream about partnering with us to do this, they were immediately excited, and I think they were thinking of themselves of this could be a great opportunity for us. So they did ask me if they could have dibs on our students, and I told them
How does Mary Lou feel about that?
Yeah, I said, I don't think I have the ability as CIO to give dibs on our students, but their mind was in the right spot, which was we need talent too. So we've got our first cohort of students graduating at the end of this semester, 3, because we just started in last spring. All 3 of them have job offers already, 3 job offers through TechStream even. And so and we're going to be tracking this always on how well our students are doing. And we're creating through this program, so any school that joins will have this opportunity, report cards for our students that are directly out of the analytics and things that come out of Splunk, all the work they've been doing, the incidents they've solved, how quickly they did it. We're going to have a personalized scorecard for each student for them to take when they go to interviews or to submit with their resumes, which we think will be a huge help for them.
There's going to be like a scorecard in the office, and it's going to say TechStream 3, Splunk 0, and Mary Lou's going to get competitive and be like, I need you to go higher.
That's the way it should be.
That's exactly the way it should be. So I want to jump real quick. Workforce pipeline management. Are you thinking about the same thing? How are you thinking about this?
Absolutely. NJIT has always done a great job placing students, getting them the experience, but we don't have nearly enough cyber professionals in any state, in any industry. And if we can look, and one of the things that's unique at NJIT, we actually don't have a bachelor's in cybersecurity, which kind of amazed me when I started and was going about this program. And we realized it's because we feel that cybersecurity is a very diverse skill set, and we want somebody to have a better foundational knowledge. So our goal, and it's really to scale, we're starting with about 5 to 7 students. I want to see, we built out a suite that's capable of supporting about 20 to 30 of them. I want to see that suite full, and then I'll go find more and more. And having industry partners like TechStream, like Splunk, like a lot of our other partners, a huge part of my job is going out and advertising to them what they're doing, because I want to see them hiring our students. It is, that to me, when we're talking about points of pride, the single greatest thing I think any of us could achieve out of this is helping our students get a job in today's market where they expect you to have experience coming out, and a lot of students don't. We're giving them that opportunity, and that's why I'm in higher education, at least, and the part that drives me day to day.
Love it. Kim, one of the things I did want to touch upon was the emerging technologies that you're seeing across your portfolio. Could you just speak to the intersection between cybersecurity and data analytics and what you see in the next couple of years?
It's a really good question. Using the data, the same data. It's data from our logs, email. Network is using that data to help solve their problems. So I see this quest for where is the data? What data do we have? Can I put my data in there? And then how can we make the most use of it? So it's very efficient.
So we're going to start to wrap this up. So one of my favorite questions the last 2 days has been like, what's one lesson that you would like to pass down to one of the kids at your university? So it might be specific to each of you. I know you don't have a SOC at your university, so it might be more focused on the data analytics or the cyber, but if there's a rising technology star at your university, what are you passing down to them?
Be creative, be innovative. Don't think siloed, don't think this is for this. Expand your thinking. Look for opportunities outside of traditional use of technology or use of any tool, truthfully. But you're going to use a hammer for a nail most of the time, but maybe every now and then you need to use something else.
Love it. Ed?
I similar but different, I would say be bold. And it's incredibly scary for anyone these days to be unemployed or be looking for a jobs market. And these programs, it's not always easy, especially for younger students who say, hey, I'm looking for a job, can you help me out? I don't have the experience. Go out and ask, network. My favorite thing to do when I'm on campus is meet with our students, but it's difficult to try to get them to engage at times. And if I were to say to any of our students or anyone out there, be curious, not judgmental, my favorite Ted Lasso quote.
Love Ted Lasso, by the way.
Right?
So
it's so great.
Good.
Best lessons on leadership on earth. But I really, that quote means a lot to me because ask the right questions. Don't be afraid to be the loud one in the room. When we do events on campus all the time to help with training, to give exposure, we'll have Splunk on to give industry thought leadership. I want our students coming in drones, raising hands, asking about the jobs market, what skill sets should I do? That's only there to help them.
Yeah, I love that. And just to speak, so I forget how this happened, but I was at Task 2 years ago, I think it was, and we got connected. Didn't happen, I think this is the first time we met, right? This is the first time we met. It's been 2 years, and I had no idea. Someone was like, hey, you gotta meet Mary Lou. I'm like, I have zero clue who that is. And in fact, to be honest, because I didn't come from public sector, and I didn't know what the term SLED was when I started this business, for the first 9 months, people kept saying SLED. I'm like, okay, I gotta look this up. It's this, he's snowboarding. I'm like, oh, it's like a sales term. Okay, got it. Okay, cool. But then 2 years later, it happened, right? So that community, you just never know who you're gonna come into contact with. And we had UTSA on, both Vanessa and we had Kendra, and just the students were out here. And it was so awesome to see the students. I was at UTSA last year, so a lot of them were returning, and a lot of them were like, dude, I want to be a creator like you. And I'm like, cool, awesome. Like X number of years, whenever you start, just email me, and love to pass the favor down, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's exactly what I'm talking about.
Yeah. Craig, what you're passing down?
I think follow your passion first and foremost, but then to me, everything is about relationship building and building trust. The more you can work with folks, the more you can collaborate, like what we've been doing, the more successful you're going to be. You can't do it all by yourself. You've got to learn how to work with others and collaborate.
I wish that my memory was so good because I want to really pull a Ted Lasso team quote right now, but I can't. But maybe in post-production, I'll just pop in and add a clip in there, and then I'll pop out. Mary Lou, what would you pass down to a rising technology leader in your field?
So I would say, look for the shining stars. And to me, these three exemplify the shining stars, right? And I learned so much from the people we work with, and to be able to share those ideas, to inspire others to go out and do great things and highlight where you see great things. What more can you ask for?
I love that. Thank you for coming on the Public Sector Show by TechTables. Super excited to release this episode, and I appreciate you all.
Thanks,
Thank
Joe.
you. Thanks for having us.
Hey, what's up, everybody? This is Joe Tossi from TechTables.com, and you're listening to the Public Sector Show by TechTables. This podcast features human-centric stories from public sector CIOs, CISOs, and technology leaders across federal, state, city, county, and higher education. You'll gain valuable insights into current issues and challenges faced by top leaders. Through interviews, speaking engagements, live podcast tour events, we offer you a behind-the-mic look at the opportunities top leaders are seeing today. And to make sure you never miss an episode, head over to Spotify and Apple Podcasts and hit that follow button and leave a quick rating. Just tap the number of stars that you think this show deserves.